Stephen A. Smith made a comment that Paul George did not like. PG-13 joined ESPN during the NBA Finals to cover the Mavs and Celtics series. As the Celtics got ready to kick off Game 3 without their star Kristaps Porzingis, Stephen A. with PG right next to him said nobody on the planet knows what it's like to play without a star than Paul George. George ain't like that comment. He took it to his podcast and said, I didn't like it. And I rock with Stephen A, obviously, but just let it go. You know what I mean. Just let it go. Kawhi wants to play. I will keep beating this over the head until I'm out of breath. Kawhi wants to play. Stephen A keeps making it something like Kawhi doesn't want to play or he doesn't want to be there. The irony in both Stephen A. Smith and Paul George now in a disagreement is that they're both actually eyeing for new contracts. Paul George is eligible to sign a 4-year, $220 million max extension with the Los Angeles Clippers this offseason. Here's the thing. It has become evident that at this point in time, the Clippers are not willing to offer George the full max extension despite recently giving Kawhi a full max extension, which may be an opportunity out there for a team like the Philadelphia 76ers to come in this free agency and snag George's services. A lot of people believe that Clippers owner at some point in time will come around and offer George the full 4-year, $220 million max that he desires at age 33. For Stephen A. Smith, the worldwide leader in sports has reportedly offered him a whopping $90 million deal to keep Stephen A. at the network for the next 5 years. That breaks down to about $18 million a year. Reportedly, Stephen A. is eyeing a contract that's closer to $25 million. So the two sides are going to have to bridge that $7 million gap to close on a new deal. It is expected for both sides to land somewhere. Stephen A. has let it be known that he wants to be the top talent paid at ESPN once again, which means he would have to go over Pat McAfee, who reportedly got a 5-year, $85 million contract last year. Pat not only has his own show, but he's also a featured panelist on College Game Day. Let me know your thoughts. Will George or Stephen A. or both get the contract that they desire? I definitely think Stephen A. is going to get close to that $25 million deal that he wants. As a person that just used to work at the network, I just understand the value that this brother presents. The funny thing is, I don't know where he would go on the open market and get that type of money, but he probably could get maybe 10, 15 million just for his podcast, right? With the times that we're in now, and probably wouldn't have to travel around the country as much. But look, allegedly Stephen A. has private jet access with ESPN. I think you want to keep that going. I think Stephen A. enjoys what he does. Brother is the biggest face over at the brand. Like, even if you were down a grocery store and you saw Pat McAfee or Stephen A., who would you want a picture with first? Stephen A. He's the biggest star at the company. And I think that matters to ESPN a lot more than I maybe thought a year ago. I just knew Stephen A. was on his way out of ESPN. I thought bringing in a guy like Pat McAfee covered all of their bases, and there was a world where they could have moved off of Stephen A., especially with Shannon Sharpe recently getting a 4-year deal. But I just don't think ESPN is ready to lose a brand that they've invested so much in. I think Stephen A. is going to get what he wants. Now, Paul George, on the other hand, is definitely a tougher one if I'm Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. He's got a new arena coming this year that he's going to want to be people at. And the reality is, if you've ever been in Los Angeles, the Crypto.com arena, formerly known as the Staples Center, is a staple, no pun intended, in people's lives. The Lakers are a staple in that town's lives. So for the foreseeable future, the Clippers are going to have a hard time getting people to come to games, which I think Paul George, James Harden, Kawhi, I don't think these dudes are idiots. I think some of this stuff they knew, which is why they played their cards so close to the hip. Even at age 33, I think George gets a new deal, and I think he ends up getting what he wants. But I got to be honest, if I was over the network ESPN, if I was over the Clippers, as their owner is Steve Ballmer, I would have a harder time giving that money to George versus Stephen A. I'm going to get my return of investment on Stephen A because I'm going to make him work. He going to work every single day. We know that's what he does, right? He's going to be the face of the company. George already is not the healthiest. He's just not as injury prone as Kawhi. I would have a hard time dishing out that type of money for a team that probably is never getting to their goal any darn way. I mean, they're not getting any younger, any healthier. I don't know if I would do that one, but I bet the Clippers end up doing it. Time, love, and support. It's your boy, never take for granted. Salute. I'm out. If you are like me and love flexing your NBA knowledge, you should head over to the best place to play fantasy sports. That's Underdog Fantasy. For me, I love the pick'em game. It's super simple to play too. All you got to do is go to the Underdog Fantasy website or app, pick whether a player will have a higher or lower stat line for that game, get all your picks right, and you can win up to 20 times your money. And when you sign up, if you use my code Ferro, your deposit will get doubled. You can't beat that. Again, head over to today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy's website or app, use my code Ferro, and your first deposit will get doubled. Do you want to see your favorite athlete live in action next time they're in your town? Or do you want to see your favorite artist performing in concert next time they're in a city near you? Head over to the SeatGeek website or app and use my code HoopsFerro for $20 off your first purchase. Make sure you subscribe to the It's Mr. Taliaferro YouTube channel, and hey, donate a super chat. Follow me on Facebook at It's Mr. Taliaferro, cop a supporter badge. The Underdog Fantasy promo code is Ferro. The SeatGeek promo code is HoopsFerro. And follow me on Twitter at It's Mr. Ferro.